Hello, and welcome to the 17th episode of By the Fire with a Shamana, a short transmission bringing shamanic wisdom into your life, one conversation by the fire at a time. It is intended as a form of medicine to heal, open perspective, raise consciousness, and help you regain more freedom and power over your life. If you are curious to discover why spending time in nature can reconnect you not only with yourself, but also with the living world around you, today's episode is for you. Before we begin, I want to invite you to pause for a moment. You are obviously coming from other activities, other thoughts, and right now we are opening a sacred space for this transmission. So just take a few deep breaths. You inspire through the nose and expire through the mouth. And you feel the air you breathe circulating through your whole body, through each of your cells. Feel your body relaxing, becoming more present, more receptive, ready to activate your listening and learning abilities. As you arrive more fully into that space, ask yourself, what is your state in this moment? How do you feel? All feelings are welcome. And if there is a comment section on the app where you are listening to this episode, I invite you to write how you feel there so we can include it together in this sacred space. And when you feel ready, enter. Last week, we explored why our inner wisdom can become so difficult to hear when your inner alarm system remains constantly activated. We discovered that the state of your nervous system influences the way you experience yourself and the world around you. This week, I would like to explore why spending time in nature has such a profound effect on the way you feel. For many of us, daily life unfolds in places that are very far removed from the natural world. You may spend most of your day sitting in front of a computer, inside buildings, under artificial light, moving from one meeting to the next, answering emails, reading messages, responding to notifications. And after a while, this simply becomes what you call normal. And yet, whenever you have the opportunity to spend a few days in nature, and after you settle down a little, your rhythm begins to change almost by itself. You naturally slow down, you breathe more deeply, your mind becomes quieter, your body begins to relax, and without making any particular effort, you simply feel more present. So it's natural to wonder why this happens. Is nature creating something within you that was not there before? Or is it simply revealing something that was already there? Before we try to answer that question, take a moment to think about how you feel when you are truly surrounded by nature. Think about the feeling of walking barefoot on warm sand, sitting by the ocean listening to the waves, feeling the wind on your face during a boat trip, or walking through the mountains surrounded by wildflowers and fresh air. Your senses awaken again. Instead of constantly thinking about what comes next, you begin to notice what is already here. the sound of the birds, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the scent of the trees after the rain, the movement of the water, the colors around you. We often say that we reconnect with nature. And from a shamanic perspective, that expression is not quite accurate because you cannot reconnect with something you have never been separated from. One of the fundamental ideas in shamanism is that human beings are not separate from nature. We do not simply live in nature or go into nature. We are nature. The same life that expresses itself through the trees, the rivers, the mountains, the oceans, the animals, and the changing seasons also expresses itself through us. When you begin to see yourself this way, your relationship with nature changes. Nature is no longer something outside of you. It is no longer simply a place where you go to spend a weekend or your holidays. It becomes a place where you recognize the same life that also exists within you. And when you experience that sense of belonging, you no longer see yourself as separate from the living world. You realize that everything is connected. From that place, respect for life no longer comes from a moral principle or an environmental responsibility. It comes naturally. Because when you recognize yourself as part of the living world, caring for it becomes a way of honoring the life that expresses itself through everything around you, including yourself. And as in every episode, I would like us to experience this transmission together. Before we begin the exercise, just a quick reminder to use your judgment and stay safe if you are driving or doing any activity that requires your full attention. I also invite you to take a mental note of how you feel right now. Simply notice your current state so that you can compare it with how you feel at the end of this exercise. So if you feel comfortable, I invite you to gently close your eyes for a moment and simply take a slow breath. Allow your body to soften a little. Relax your shoulders, your jaw, your face, and simply notice the space your body is occupying right now. Now I invite you to imagine yourself sitting in a garden, a park, a forest, or any place where you can feel the presence of nature around you. Allow yourself to arrive. Feel the ground supporting your body, the air touching your skin, and your breathing naturally finding its own natural rhythm. As you sit there, allow your attention to be drawn toward one living being. It may be a bird, a bee, a butterfly, or any small creature that catches your eye. Watch it for a few moments. Notice that just like you, it is alive. It breathes. It moves through the world. It responds to what happens around it. It looks for food, builds a shelter, cares for its young, and does what it needs to do to continue living. Now, allow your awareness to expand until it naturally includes the trees around you. Take a moment to really look at one of them. Notice the shape of its trunk, the direction of its branches. Perhaps a scar where a branch once grew. This tree has lived through sunshine, storms, wind, rain, changing seasons, just like you. It has adapted to its environment, overcome challenges in its own way, and continued to grow. Every mark you see tells parts of its story. As you continue observing this ecosystem, take a moment to reflect on what you have just observed. What similarities do you notice between yourself and these different forms of life? And as you look at this living world around you, do you feel a sense of connection with it? There is no right or wrong answer. All feelings are valid. As a human being, you are part of this ecosystem. You breathe the same air. You are warmed by the same sun. The water flowing through your body belongs to the same living cycle. Every day, your life is supported by this living world in countless ways. And because some of these connections are invisible, we often forget they are there. So I would like you to experience one of them now. Take a slow, comfortable breath in and notice the air filling your lungs. And as you slowly breathe out, imagine your breath leaving your body and gently continuing its journey. Picture it moving through the leaves of a nearby tree before continuing a little further. See a bird taking a quiet breath, inhaling the same air and gently breathing it back into the world. Follow that same breath as it continues its journey toward a flower, where a bee lands for just a moment before taking its own breath and releasing that same air once again. Then allow it to continue traveling, becoming part of the endless movement of life that surrounds you. Now, with your next breath, imagine that same journey happening in the opposite direction. The air entering your lungs has already traveled through trees, flowers, birds, insects, forests, and countless other living beings before gently finding its way to you. Allow yourself to sit with that feeling for a few moments. You're not breathing separately from life. You are breathing with it, from it. Now take one final slow breath. And when you feel ready, gently bring your attention back to the space around you. And I now invite you to take a mental note of how you feel after this exercise. As every week, I would like to leave you with a simple integration practice to continue exploring this concept during the week ahead. This week, I invite you to take 5 minutes each day to notice a living being around you. Pause for just a moment and ask yourself, what similarities do I notice between myself and this living being? Do I feel a sense of connection with it? And as the week unfolds, simply notice how your relationship with the living world evolves. What this episode invites us to remember is that nature is not a place to escape to. It is a mirror that reminds you of your own nature. So before we close this sacred space together, I invite you to take one final deep breath. You inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And you simply notice how you feel compared to the beginning of the episode. You can also take a mental note about what you want to take with you from this moment by the fire today. And we can now close this sacred transmission space together. The journey continues within you. Walk gently, walk consciously, and remember, you are never walking alone. If the energy of this transmission resonated with you, I would be truly grateful if you chose to share it as you feel appropriate. Because every time this sacred space is shared, its energy continues to expand and reach the people who may need it most. You can also continue and deepen the journey with me on Substack. That is where I share Whispers from the Shamana, a weekly publication to nourish your deeper self and softly awaken the shaman within. The address is thedigitalshamana with an A at the end, .substack.com. Thank you truly for your presence here today, for taking this moment for yourself, and for stepping into this space. And I will see you by the fire again very soon.